Dissecting a human child was the first mistake the Zalari made. Captain Dracker of the Zalari expedition fleet stood over the examination table where a young human boy lay lifeless. The room, sterile and cold, was filled with advanced Zalari technology that hummed ominously. Dracker, a seasoned warrior with a mantle of countless victories, had underestimated the ferocity of retribution. It all began when the Zalari, a technologically superior and war-hardened race, decided to expand their empire into the Sol system. Their scouts reported Earth as a rich source of resources with primitive inhabitants who posed little threat. Initial encounters were brief and violent, as the Zalari eradicated human defenses with ease. But the true clash of civilizations began when the Zalari abducted a human child for scientific study. Dracker observed the holographic displays projecting the child's anatomy. Such frail creatures, he mused, flicking a mandible in disdain. To think these beings consider themselves dominant. The Zalari scientist, Merak, nodded, tapping at the display to highlight various organs and structures. Their biology is surprisingly resilient for their appearance, Captain, Merak noted. Their cellular regeneration is slower than ours, yet their physical adaptability is noteworthy. This one in particular showed signs of recovery even after we introduced various pathogens. Dracker dismissed the findings with a wave. Irrelevant. Their military response has been laughable. We crushed their resistance and claimed this system within weeks. Unbeknownst to the Zalari, their actions had set off a chain of events that would awaken the most dangerous aspect of humanity. Their relentless, unyielding drive to protect their own, especially their young. In a hidden bunker deep within the Rocky Mountains, General Marcus Cole watched the footage of the Zalari dissection with a grim expression. The room was filled with the top brass of Earth's remaining military forces. Cole, a man hardened by years of combat, felt a surge of anger unlike any he had known before. "They've made it personal," Cole growled, slamming a fist on the table. That boy was just 9 years old. Colonel James Harris, Cole's trusted second-in-command, leaned forward, his face a mask of determination. "General, we need to strike back. Hit them where it hurts." Cole nodded, his mind racing. "Agreed. We need to rally every resource we have. Intelligence reports suggest the Zalari are vulnerable to guerrilla tactics. Their reliance on technology makes them predictable in some ways. We'll exploit that." The room buzzed with the energy of strategizing minds. They knew that conventional warfare had failed. Now it was time to use every ounce of human ingenuity, resilience, and fury to turn the tide. The first retaliation came in the form of a coordinated cyber attack. Human hackers, many of them young prodigies who had grown up in the digital age, launched a devastating assault on the Zalari fleet's network. Systems malfunctioned, critical data was corrupted, and for the first time, the Zalari faced chaos they could not control. Dracker's ship shuddered as alarms blared. "What is happening?" he demanded, his eyes narrowing as he surveyed the flickering screens. "Human cyber intrusion," Merak reported, his voice tinged with disbelief. "They've managed to breach our mainframe. We are experiencing widespread failures." Dracker's mandibles clicked in irritation. "How is this possible? Their technology is centuries behind ours." Merak shook his head. "They are more resourceful than we anticipated. They've exploited weaknesses we didn't even consider." Dracker's rage boiled over. "Then we must respond with overwhelming force. Prepare to launch an assault on their major cities. Show them the futility of defying the Zalari." As the Zalari prepared their counterstrike, humanity continued to rally. Underground resistance networks grew stronger, bolstered by the shared outrage and sorrow over the loss of their children. Communities that once squabbled over trivial matters now stood united, driven by a singular purpose: survival and vengeance. In the heart of New York, a young man named Jack Thompson stood ready to join the fight. Emerging as an unlikely leader of the resistance, Alex Carter had lost his younger brother to the Varani abduction. His grief transformed into a burning resolve, prompting him to gather a group of like-minded individuals. This ragtag team consisted of hackers, engineers, and former soldiers, all united by a common goal. Alex began orchestrating a series of daring sabotage missions. His latest plan involved infiltrating a Varani outpost on the outskirts of the city. The outpost was heavily guarded, but Alex had a trump card, a captured Varani drone, reprogrammed to serve human commands. "Remember," Alex said to his team, his voice steady but urgent, "we get in, plant the charges, and get out.
No heroics.
We're here to send a message, not to get ourselves killed." The team moved with precision, their actions a testament to the human spirit's adaptability. They used the reprogrammed drone to bypass security, silently neutralizing guards and planting explosives at key points within the outpost. As they made their escape, the charges detonated in a series of controlled blasts. The Varani outpost crumbled, a plume of smoke rising into the sky. The message was clear. Humanity would not bow. They would fight back with every means at their disposal. The Varani's frustration grew with each human victory. What they had dismissed as a simple conquest was becoming a protracted nightmare. Commander Zarek paced the bridge of his ship, his mind racing for solutions. "We must understand them better," suggested Verlin, his advisor, cautiously. "Their emotional responses are driving their actions. If we can predict their behavior, we can counter it more effectively." Zarek stopped, his eyes narrowing. "You mean study their psychology? Their culture?" "Yes," Verlin replied. "It's not just their technology we underestimated. It's their spirit, their will to fight for what they cherish. We need to break that will." Zarek nodded slowly. "Very well. Begin the analysis. Find their weaknesses." As the Varani delved deeper into understanding their human adversaries, they would come to realize that some forces are beyond control. The human spirit, once roused, is an unstoppable force. The Varani were about to learn just how fierce the protectors of Earth could be. The Varani efforts to decipher human psychology led them to grim conclusions. They realized humans did not just fight to win. They fought with an indomitable spirit driven by emotions so potent they defied logical analysis. Each time a Varani soldier or scout perished at the hands of these relentless Earthlings, the Varani leadership grew more frustrated. Commander Zarek's plans had to adapt quickly. In the heart of the resistance, Alex Carter's notoriety was spreading. He became a symbol of human defiance, inspiring others to rise against the alien invaders. His latest undertaking was to attack a central Varani communication hub, critical for their coordination and control over the occupied territories. Alex's team had expanded, now including specialists in various fields. One such new member was Ethan, a former telecommunications engineer with an uncanny ability to manipulate electronic systems. Ethan had been instrumental in devising a plan to disrupt Varani communications. "Ethan, you sure you can get us past their security protocols?" Alex asked, studying the blueprints of the Varani facility. Ethan nodded confidently. "Their technology is advanced, but it's not infallible. They rely too much on automation and predictable algorithms. We'll exploit that." The team set out under the cover of night, navigating the ruins of a once bustling city now scarred by the war. The Varani hub was a towering structure pulsating with alien energy. Guards patrolled its perimeter, their movements precise and unyielding. Alex and his team moved with silent efficiency. Using Ethan's expertise, they disabled surveillance systems and created a temporary blind spot, allowing them to infiltrate the facility. Inside, the team split into two groups, one to plant explosive charges, the other to hack into the communication mainframe. As Alex planted the last charge, he couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. "We're making progress," he whispered to himself. "We're showing them we won't be broken." Ethan's voice crackled over the comms. "We're in the mainframe. Starting the data breach now." Back at the Resistance headquarters, General Marcus Cole monitored the operation closely. The plan was to download critical Varani data that could reveal their strategic vulnerabilities. As he watched the screens, a thought gnawed at him. How far would they need to go to make the Varani realize the cost of their invasion? Deep within the Varani flagship, Verlin's analysis continued. He had been studying human history, psychology, and their responses to prolonged conflict. What he found was both fascinating and troubling. Humans thrived under pressure, often finding unity and strength in the face of overwhelming odds. "Commander Zarek," Verlin reported during a briefing, "we need a new approach. Conventional methods of suppression are failing. We must consider psychological warfare, targeting their morale and breaking their spirit from within. Zarek's eyes gleamed with cold determination. Explain. Verlin brought up a holographic projection of Earth. Humans are resilient because they fight for their families, their communities. They draw strength from their connections. If we disrupt those connections, we weaken their resolve. Zarek nodded slowly. A divide-and-conquer strategy. We need to instill fear and mistrust among them, make them question their leaders and their chances of survival. The Varani began executing their new strategy immediately. They broadcasted messages designed to sow discord, claiming to offer safe havens for those who surrendered and denouncing the resistance leaders as reckless and doomed. They staged false flag operations, making it appear as though some human factions were betraying others for survival. In the resistance bunker, the impact of the Varani psychological operations was palpable. Reports of collaborators and increasing paranoia among the civilians began to surface. General Cole called an emergency meeting. "We need to counter this," Cole said, his tone urgent. "We can't let them divide us." Alex agreed. "We need a victory that will unite the people, something symbolic and undeniable." Ethan suggested a bold plan. "There's a Varani supply depot in the Appalachians, heavily fortified but crucial for their operations. If we can take it out, it'll be a significant blow to their logistics and a huge morale boost for our side." The team prepared meticulously, knowing that the success of this mission could turn the tide of the war. They mobilized every resource, gathering intelligence and assembling a strike force. The assault on the Varani depot began with a diversion. A small group of resistance fighters engaged the perimeter guards, drawing attention away from the main entry points. Alex's team, equipped with explosives and cutting-edge human-engineered weapons, slipped through the breaches. The depot was a sprawling complex filled with supplies and ammunition that kept the Varani war machine running. The resistance moved swiftly, placing charges and sabotaging critical infrastructure. The Vala response was swift, but the humans fought with a tenacity born of desperation and hope. Amidst the chaos, Jack Thompson found himself face to face with a Vala commander. The alien's towering form was intimidating, but Jack stood his ground. With a swift move, he activated a hidden blade, striking at the Vala's weak points. As the depot erupted in flames, the resistance fighters made their escape, the night sky lit up by the fiery destruction. The mission was a resounding success, echoing across the occupied territories. Civilians and fighters alike felt a renewed sense of purpose and unity. The Vala, witnessing the resilience and ingenuity of their human adversaries, began to reconsider their approach. Verla's analysis had proven accurate. The more they tried to break human spirits, the stronger the humans became. The Vala leadership convened to discuss their next move, now fully aware that this war was far from over, and that they had underestimated the human capacity for resistance. Captain Raxar, for the first time, felt a pang of doubt. The Vala were an empire built on conquest and subjugation, but Earth was proving to be a challenge unlike any other. As he looked out over the damaged fleet and the burning remnants of their supply depot, he realized that their greatest challenge was yet to come. Captain Raxar paced the bridge, the weight of failure pressing heavily on his shoulders. His crew, once confident and almost arrogant, now moved with a sense of urgency and caution. The human resistance had proven far more formidable than the Vala had ever anticipated. It was time to reconsider their approach. "Verla," Raxar called, summoning his chief scientist. "We need decisive action, something that will break their will to fight once and for all." Verla nodded, bringing up schematics of a new weapon they had developed, a device capable of inducing seismic activity. "If we deploy this at a major fault line, we could trigger a catastrophic earthquake. The resulting devastation would cripple their infrastructure and morale." Raxar considered the plan, his mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "Do it. Prepare the weapon and select the target. We end this now." Meanwhile, in the resistance bunker, Jack Thompson and General Cole were also making plans. The success of the depot assault had emboldened the resistance, but they knew the Vala would retaliate fiercely. Reports of increased activity around seismic zones had reached their ears, raising alarms. Ethan, the telecommunications expert, had intercepted Vala communications hinting at a devastating new weapon. "They're planning something big," General, we need to act fast, Ethan warned. Cole nodded. We need to neutralize that weapon before they can use it. Jack, can your team handle it? Jack met his gaze with determination. We've come this far. We won't let them destroy our home. We'll stop them. The Vala weapon was stationed in a remote, heavily guarded location near the San Andreas Fault. Jack's team, now bolstered by additional resistance fighters, approached with a mix of stealth and audacity. They knew failure was not an option. Under the cover of darkness, they infiltrated the perimeter. Using a reprogrammed Vala drone, they disabled key security systems and moved quickly toward the central control area. The tension was palpable as they advanced, each step bringing them closer to either victory or death. Inside the control room, Verla monitored the weapon's activation sequence. The device hummed ominously, its power building. Verla's focus was absolute, his mind calculating the potential devastation. Suddenly, alarms blared. Jack and his team had been detected. Intruders! Verla shouted, rallying the Vala guards. But the resistance fighters were prepared. They fought with a ferocity that caught the Vala off guard, their movements precise and lethal. Jack reached the control room where Verla stood ready to defend the weapon. You can't stop us, human, Verla hissed. This world will fall. Jack leveled his gaze. Not today. He lunged, engaging Verla in brutal hand-to-hand combat. The Vala scientist was strong, but Jack's resolve was unbreakable. With a final powerful strike, Jack incapacitated Verla and deactivated the weapon. As dawn broke, the resistance fighters emerged victorious. The Vala weapon lay in ruins, and the remaining Vala forces retreated, their morale shattered. General Cole received the news with a mixture of relief and pride. You did it, Jack. You saved us. But the victory was not without cost. The toll on the human fighters was evident. Their numbers diminished, but their spirit unbroken. They had not just defended their home. They had proven their resilience and strength to the universe. Captain Raxar, receiving the report of their failure, knew the Vala could no longer sustain their campaign on Earth. Prepare the fleet for withdrawal, he ordered, his voice heavy with defeat. We underestimated them. We cannot hold this world. In the weeks that followed, humanity began to rebuild. The scars of war were deep, but the sense of unity and resilience was stronger than ever. Jack Thompson and his team were hailed as heroes, symbols of the unyielding human spirit. As the Vala fleet retreated into the depths of space, the lesson they had learned echoed in their minds. Humanity was not to be underestimated. They were fierce protectors of their own, capable of unimaginable strength and determination when provoked.